Hello, here's a bit of a news update. I'm sorry I may have alarmed some of you with the news postings I put up lately saying the site was going down indefinitely. I think some of you may have thought that was a much longer time than I intended, but at the time I was pretty alarmed. I did mean indefinitely. I did not know how long the site was going to go down. DreamHost had pretty much fucked my site hard. They blamed the Spoony Experiment for causing some kind of server-wide crash, like not just my site, but like every site on their machine. And so they went in there and they disabled like every WordPress plugin and script they could find. And it's a wonder they even left the forum running. And so, at the time, I didn't know what they'd done to disable this stuff. I didn't know how to fix it. And Scarlett, she works so hard already that I really felt bad dumping this much work on her, because she was the only one who could really fix it at this point. I know a little bit, but she knows the real nuts and bolts of the installation right now. And so I was really up shit creek, and I got into this real problem where I really do need to seek alternative web hosting, and I'm going through that right now. Actually, the news there is pretty good. Somebody has offered to host my site on a dedicated server, which, you may not realize, but with the size of the forum and the number of visitors, even I was unaware of how big the site has really gotten. There are thousands of you out there, and you're all very supportive, and you like to visit the site a lot, which is good. I mean, that's fantastic. But in terms of web hosting, it turns out that my web hosting plan was completely inadequate, and I'm already paying a lot of money to keep even the not so good quality we've got going. So I was. You don't even want to know how much I'm paying a month for that, and so it's just barely being offset by like advertising and donations. So I was actually getting really close to outright just begging for money to keep the site going, because I was looking into dedicated servers that were going to cost like $340 a month to keep running. So if this donated dedicated server works out, well, that's going to be really good. It's going to save me a lot of money, and the performance of the site will be a lot better. So things are kind of up in the air right now. The site you're seeing right now is kind of a placeholder. We just got enough to get it running, because there's going to be a lot of changes around here. Once I get moved to the new server, we're probably going to do a lot of changes to the look and feel of the site, kind of a third phase, if you will. But we don't really want to mess with it until we got it moved over to the new site. So I'll try to give you as much warning as possible, but I will warn you now something. There are a lot of databases involved in this site, with the forum, the WordPress, all that stuff. I'm getting the most recent backups that I can, but when I move the server, you may lose some posts. So if there's anything on the forum that you want to keep, particularly the forum, you may lose it, so save it in your own documents later on. I'm really not sure what other explanation to offer you. I'm not sure how far back you're going to lose it. I'm guessing you may lose up to a week before the actual transition, so just fair warning on that score. That being said, I would like to actually have some content coming up. I've been working really hard. When I realized I was going to be moving to a new server, that actually kind of coincided with some other changes that are going on around here. I don't want to talk about it yet. I'm going to be kind of mysterious about this one yet, but this is by far the most difficult to write, most difficult to shoot, because once again, still I am a one-man crew here, so, from a technical standpoint, this is going to be very hard to shoot. Actually very difficult from an emotional standpoint to shoot. So, it's going to take a very long time to edit, because there's special effects, all that kind of thing, and I really want it to be special, so that's why you may not be seeing updates for a long time. Actually, I am just about over halfway done with it, so I'm actually going to try to get it finished by as soon as the end of the week. Cross fingers, I'm hoping for the best. But it's a lot of work, and I'm working basically all day, every day, trying to get this thing done. So I hope you're excited. I'm excited. I want to get this thing done, and I don't want it to seem like I'm hurrying. Actually, I was hurrying for most of it, and I realized if I hurried it, it would seem hurried. I wanted to get it done. I wanted to get it done right, and I want it to be good. And I think it is going to be good. I'm very excited about it. So I'm actually in the middle of recording it right now. So I thought I'd take a break, try to get an update on the site, tell you guys what's going on, and also to follow up on one of my more controversial reviews lately. That is the review of Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen that I did with my brother. My brother's at work right now, so he can't be here today, but I thought I would follow up with some of them. Probably the most common complaint I got with the movie, and that is most people wrote in and said things like, what do you expect? This is Transformers. Anytime you have robots fighting each other, it's automatically good. I kind of have a problem with that statement because, well, that's not always the case. And I could show you examples of that, and I will. But you're just setting yourself up for kind of really, really low expectations when you say that, because, you know, really, are you that much of a slave? Are you that much of a sheep that you're willing, like just the mere words robots fighting each other is going to get you into the movies? Like, you know, Matrix Revolutions, one of the worst goddamn movies I ever saw. Well, that was robots fighting. That, you know, there's just so many movies like that it's just not enough. You gotta have good writing. You gotta have some semblance of a story. You can't just have robots beating the shit out of each other and just have that be enough. You know, you can't literally put like 90 minutes of comic relief padding in a movie and expect the few somewhat passable scenes of robot fighting to make all that other stuff go away. It's just not good enough. And so the other most common complaint I heard was, this isn't Citizen Kane, man. Like, how can you hate this? Like, your expectations are too damn high. You know, they really weren't. If I got something even on the level of the cartoon, and the cartoon was pretty brainless, gotta tell you. But, you know, my expectations were not that high, and that's just about the weakest argument you can give me when you say, it's not Citizen Kane, it's not trying to be Citizen Kane. What fucking is? Like, you know, no movie sets out to be Citizen Kane. How much, like, is that the justification you throw up for every movie? Like, do you automatically just like every movie because, like, you walk out there going, like, well, that was no Citizen Kane, but what did I expect? Like, standards. You gotta have standards when it comes to this sort of thing. Like, this is not applause-worthy cinema, at the very least. Like, maybe you were able to fall asleep and you woke up just in time to see robots fighting, and you're like, that's kind of cool. It wasn't cool. Like, it was blurry, it was hard to follow, all the robots looked alike. Even from a standpoint of robots fighting, it was a major letdown. And, you know, I thought Michael Bay, if anybody, would able to do that right. And I guess not. But just to prove a point to you guys, I thought what I might do is, I'd really like to show you some clips, and maybe I'd hate to put clips up and kind of break up the flow of this review, but I went out and I rented a different movie that had robots fighting in it, and I'm going to review that one just to see if that is, like, all that it takes to make a good movie. And I went out to the Blockbuster and I got the newest release of robots fighting, and that movie is Transmorphers, Fall of Man. That's Transmorphers. Yeah. This movie is a direct-to-video release by the Asylum Home Entertainment. And, you know, I wasn't really going to pick this up at first because, let's face it, it looks terrible. And, you know what? It is terrible. But I have to compare it to Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, you know, kind of do my little either-or game with it. I'll tell you, the reason this movie wins, Transmorphers Fall of Man, is a much better movie for two reasons. One, 90 minutes. Two, it stars Bruce Boxleitner. Who's Bruce Boxleitner, you might ask? F you! That's my answer. Go rent Babylon 5, okay? Seriously, if you honestly do not know who Bruce Boxleitner is, you've missed out on Babylon 5, and therefore you've missed out on one of the best, if not the best, science fiction television epics ever filmed. It's one of my favorite shows. In fact, I still sometimes go back to watch it because it's some of the most dramatically compelling sci-fi I've ever seen. But back to Transmorphers. Bruce Boxleitner plays a small-town California sheriff, or at least a police officer, I'm not sure if he's a sheriff, in this movie, as he's caught up in the robot war. Basically what happens is all these robots start popping up out of nowhere, transmorphing out of common household appliances and vehicles, and they start to attack. And really, that's the whole movie. And you know what? It's robots fighting! And it's not nearly as bad as Transformers, because it keeps the movie streamlined to 90 minutes. It doesn't bog itself down in shitty comic relief. What little comic relief there is actually kind of effective, in the sense that, like, this one guy's like OnStar GPS system, the thing that gives him directions in his car, starts giving him directions, and then it commands him to get out of the car or it's gonna fucking kill him. And I was like, you know what? It was a very brief joke. It was funny. That's all the comic relief you need. And Bruce Boxleitner, I'm sorry, you know, that alone, just having that kind of star power in it, like having an established actor who's pretty good in, you know what, sometimes pretty cheesy sci-fi, he knows it, you know it, you're just watching it because it's robots fighting, and you're watching it because Captain Sheridan from the fucking Babylon 5 show is in it, and you know what, he's pretty good. You know, that's all I gotta say about it. Now, I will tell you, this movie does suck. I mean, the special effects stink, okay? like, let's just put it that way. This is basically shot on a rock-bottom budget. The special effects are obvious. They're cheesy. And this really has nothing to do with Transformers. There's no Optimus Prime. There's no good robots. There's no bad robots. It's essentially a rip-off of, like, Terminator War of the Worlds, where essentially robots show up on Earth for no reason and start attacking. The humans form a resistance and they fight the robots, boom, boom, blah, blah. That's the movie. But they keep it short, sweet. It's not insulting your intelligence. It's not offensive to watch. It's not good, just because of the budget, and the action is pretty cheesy. And in fact, that's probably the biggest fault of it, is the acting, aside from Bruce Boxleitner, is very uneven. The set design, there's some people who have British accents. I don't know where they get these accents. They try to pass off like a water treatment plant as like Williams Air Force Base, and it really doesn't look like that at all. But, you know, I've had worse times spending 90 minutes. I didn't hate myself at the end, and I had no illusions walking out of there that this was anything but a cheesy sci-fi movie, and it delivered exactly on that promise. It was cheesy, it looks cheesy, it was crap, it looks like crap, but you know what? It was Bruce Boxleitner in a helicopter shooting at robots. No, hard to argue with that. It wasn't trying to be Citizen Kane, but it was okay. Now, even at 90 minutes, it was a little long. In fact, after about 30 minutes, I actually thought once they destroyed, after the big fight, I kind of thought the movie was over. I kind of thought, like, this is only like a half hour long. And I think maybe if they ended it right there, it would have been pretty good. Like, not even, like, I wouldn't have said it sucked, but not bad. After that, there was kind of a second and third act where the humans formed a resistance and fought the other robots, where I thought it pretty much dragged and wasn't anywhere near as effective. And that's because Bruce Boxleitner dies. Yeah, big spoiler. He dies at about the end of the first act, and the movie from there is nowhere near as good. You know, go figure. But hey, you know, it didn't have offensive racial stereotypes. It didn't have Shia LaBeouf. There's a weird instance of a cable repairman who carries a gun. Not quite sure why, but you know, but you know, okay, there were bad aspects of it. There were a lot of bad aspects about it. Like I said, the robots were cheesy, and in fact, you know, early on you only see one thing really transmorph, and that's like some kind of SUV that turns into the robot. And like in terms of like alien invasions, you only really see one transmorpher. The other one just kind of transmorphs out of a cell phone. I guess technically you call that Transmorphers, but there's only one. Later on you see more of them, but they don't transmorph. They're just big robots. And, yeah. The nameless characters are pretty much red shirts. They get wiped out pretty fast. You can kind of tell, like, right away who's going to live and who's going to die. Oh, well, what really slayed me about this one is, this is not a sequel to Transmorphers. There is another one. This is a prequel that sets up, you know, the Transmorpher original. So, yeah, Transmorphers. I would not check it out, but, you know, if you're a big fan of Bruce Boxleitner, hey, you could do worse. Otherwise, hey, you know, check out Babylon 5. if you haven't already, hey, you owe it to yourself. I've seen much worse shows out there, and you know, might kill some time between now and the big epic review that's coming up. But yeah, more news later. All will become clear soon. But until then, don't worry. I'm actually feeling much better than I was before. I was really stressed out before because of the whole server thing, how much it was going to cost, and the trouble migrating the databases to the new server is going to be a real hassle. That's I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not looking forward to that. But hey, should be okay. And but yeah, if there's anything you want to say from the forum, do that now, because you're probably going to lose some stuff. Can't tell you how well it's going to work, but at the very least, I'll see you on the other side when the new review's up and I get the new website running. So until then, I hate to beg for money, and I'm not going to do that, but I am looking into buying some new equipment. So if you're thinking about donating, there are a few times better than now, but I would like to take this moment to thank everyone who has donated. You guys have been extraordinarily generous. I did not expect anywhere near the amount of support that I've had in the last month or so, with people donating because of the camera, donating because of the website troubles. It actually is really touching, and I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. You guys have kept this place running. I mean, seriously, you guys are the sole reason this place is still running, because I probably would not have been able to afford the new equipment. I probably would not have been able to afford getting the website running again without your guys' help. And I'm going to continue to need your help because, well, DreamHost cost me kind of a lot of money with taking the site down. You know, I lost ad revenue. People aren't watching the videos as much as they were before. Blip isn't paying out as much as they were before. So I'm doing my best. I'm trying to get this review up, trying to get moved to the new site. Yeah, so it's a lot of work. I've been working hard. And so I'm sure you guys will be really entertained. That's the one goal I have for you guys, is to make the money you've been donating worth it. So until then, enjoy your Transformers. But I actually, you know what? I enjoyed Transmorphers more. I guess it was more than met the eye. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go back to work. A lot of work left to do.